Right, today is Saturday the 14th of August, and you must be wondering why I have this beautiful Hawaiian shirt in my hand. Now this one, this lovely Hawaiian shirt, and this one were two Hawaiian shirts gifted to me by one of my YouTube fans called John Means from Oklahoma State in the USA. I must say my American fans are very generous. They always send me presents. And this is another lovely couple of shirts. Not that I'm cadging for presents, but it happens to be my birthday in a couple of days' time. So it came at a very timely moment. And of course you can see I'm wearing this lovely shirt. So thank you very much, John, and I will treasure your gifts. I'm going to show you a project that I did exactly 2 years ago. In fact, 2 years and 1 month. In July of 2019, I went to check up on the garden that we finished at Islington, and that great big garden had all sort of trees and shrubs on the roof, and they had a hedge that didn't take, so they threw away all the beech. So I collected 36 beech trees. You may remember they were chest high. I will get some screenshots of those trees and I will show you how I rescued them. And many people always say, oh, I don't think they will survive, but look at it. 2 years later, and I counted the other day that of the 36, I think only about 4 of them didn't make it. And these are the rest. I've given away some. In fact, last year I had a young man from France come, and he said that he was one of my YouTube fans and he wanted a beech. So whoever is watching, and if you remember me giving you the beech, I gave you quite a lot of beech. I gave you 2 beech, I think it was, and you had it, so you're going to make a bonsai. So I'm going to pull each of these out and I will show you what the next stage is with these trees. So bear with me, we'll pull them out on the grass and I will do some trimming. So let me show you the results of what happens in exactly 2 years. I've had a rough count. I've pulled them all out, and there are 22 here, of which 4 died. And I remember I was given 36, so I don't know what happened to the other 14, but I think I may have given, as I told you, I gave 2 away to a young French visitor who came last year, and I may have sold 1 or 2, but this is the bulk of them, and look at them. I will show you screenshots from when I collected it first, and you will not believe what I did with it. Originally the trees were about chest high. They were grown in cardboard boxes for a hedge, and I cut them right down. You can see where the chop was done, with a silky saw it was cut, and all this new leader has grown in the last 2 years. So this must have grown up to here, and from here to here is this year's growth. So 2 years I've had about all new leader, and all these are new branches. So every tree is almost like this, and I needn't tell you what I'm going to do because you can probably figure it out for yourself. All I now need to do is choose the correct branches, and lo and behold, I will have a ready-made bonsai in next to no time. So you can see the lovely shape. I'm creating a nice triangular shape. I'm going to pull them out from the bushes because they're not getting enough light, so they're getting a bit cramped. And I don't want to cut the leader yet because I'll let the leader grow, because as it grows it'll make the leader thick and you'll get a better taper. So there is, as I say, method in my madness. So I'm going to let it grow so that we get better leader, and this I'm also letting it grow so that it will heal and callus the parts that I've cut. So that is the future shape of the tree. So the future shapes of the trees will be a conical shape and about 60 to 70 centimeter high. So we'll go through each of these. As you can see, by chopping the top, it has forced all this lovely growth to occur. So we've got all this beautiful growth, and that new leader I will encourage to go upwards. See, it's trying to make a new leader here, so I could even cut it there if I wanted to. In fact, why not do that? I've got so many plants. Let me show you what I do with them. So I have a silky saw here. So in a situation like this, because this leader is growing a bit flat, but this is going upwards, so let's make another cut. As you grow these trees, you've got to keep looking at it and, you know, directing the growth as it goes along. So you can't leave it completely unattended. So it's coming back on that side. Probably cut that and let this become a leader. So that's how I'm going to train it. So you can see a lovely shape occurring there. I leave the low branches because that would help thicken the trunk. So I'm not too worried about that. So that is that lovely one there. So let's move on to each of these. I may not show you all the 22 because there are 22 trees here. I might run out of time. Now this leader is going that way. If I wanted to come back on itself, I should probably cut it there and make it kick back the other way. And look at the lovely thickness of the trunk. They're all minimum of 2 inch or 3 inch in diameter. And as my cameraman Josh is saying, they were all take it to a skip. A local amenity skip and throw all the trees away. What a waste. Now this is like a formal upright. Now let's see what I can do with it. It's got lots of nice branching coming along. I don't want any particular branch to get too thick. So the ones that are getting too thick, I prune it a little bit. But I have noticed here, I always have to look at the nibari to see which face, you know, with that base like that, the front is going to be this way, or even possibly this way. So the natural leader should be there, that could be there. So there are lots of possible leaders. So you see there's a choice for me. I can either choose that. No, there's 3 choices. Continue making that the leader, or make this the leader, or make this the leader. So I'm really spoiled for choice. Okay, I will probably shorten this a little bit. I don't want it to grow too much, and kick this back, let it come back there. And if the central one takes over, I may even let that become the leader. And I will reduce these a bit so that the vigor is not too much. If I get thick branches, I get rid of them. So that is that one. So let's move on to each and every one and look at them in turn. So this is what I do with them as I go along. You can't just leave them to their own devices. Now this one I can make the leader, it's going that way, and cut it there, so I make the leader kick back this way. So there are lots of nice branches. And the root here is very nice. So you look at the root there, that makes a nice base. And this branch, if I wanted to, I can always swing it around this way. So it is still bendable. So that's all I'll do with that. And of course, the thickness of the trunks all vary. Some are thicker than others. And I notice that they all have quite interesting trunks. All have quite interesting trunks. And they're all fighting to create a new leader. Look at that. So many possible new leaders coming on. And again, I'm looking at the base, because with a base like that, I have to probably use this as the front. So that's going to be a nice leader there. Can you see? And I'm going to cut so that it will callus and heal. Although this is August, I still have a lot of time to play. It will continue to grow till about end September, early October. So look at the cut there, slightly sloping cut, and the new leader is going to take over that way. So with that as a front, that will be the new leader shooting up that way. I will leave some of these to grow because it'll help to thicken the leader and get a better taper. So that is the future training and direction of that particular one. So that one is done. Okay, I'm not sure, did we look at this one? No. Okay, that's the cut, that's the new leader. Again, cute little tree. No, I think I did this one. Okay, I did this one. Let's look at these. Every tree is different. You see how big the pot is. It's quite heavy, but of course being a big pot, it gives the chance for the roots to grow well. So that is forming a nice new leader. Look at that new leader there, going up there, straight up there, just where I wanted it. That's perfect, perfect. So when you make a sloping cut, you don't always guarantee yourself that the new leader from where you cut it comes from where you cut it, but you just got to trust luck, and in this case it has worked. So okay, this is coming on quite well. Let's look at this one. They're all different in size. This is another beauty. Look at that, look at that, how dense it is. And again, lovely leader coming from where I cut. In fact, almost every tree where I cut it, they produced a new leader just where I wanted it. Now that one is a bit thick. I'm a bit afraid of inverse taper. So I could do one of two things. I could reduce the vigor of that by taking some of the branches off. But ideally, I want a new branch to come from there. In fact, to bite the bullet, I will take it off completely. It may not look so good now, but if I leave it to grow too much, it will form inverse taper. Same with that one, that may form inverse taper, so I will reduce the vigor of that. These are growing nicely. Now there are too many branches here. You look at this from the top, look at that. It's a whole collection of wall of branches, W-H-O-R-L, wall. So I don't want too many branches there. So let's take some of them off, because this is the worst scenario for inverse taper, where you have a circular or wall, W-H-O-R-L, wall of branches. You will not get a nice spacing of branches. Again, a thick branch there I'm taking off, because I don't want that to cause inverse taper. Okay, so that again, too many branches there, take that off. And then there are quite a few branches there, and this is a very thick one. Maybe I'll leave that. Take this. So that's going to be a lovely beech. Look at that. So that's one is done. Maybe trim some of the ends. These I will all sell in this condition, but once I put it in a plastic training pot, you won't recognize them. That's a lovely tree. Look at the base on that. Look at that. Not weird or anything, but it hasn't got a definitive leader, so I will try and encourage those to grow. The way to encourage the top to grow is not to let the side branches become too strong. So I'm going to take the side branches off, biting the bullet. You know, always tempting to leave them, but for the long-term future of the tree, that may not be good. Also, some of these could become leaders. That could become a leader. So I might leave that. See, that shooting up might become a leader. So that is possible. I think I would like this to become the leader, perhaps. Okay, I'll shorten that. This could become a leader. And I don't want too many branches in case it causes inverse taper. So this is going to be a beauty, not too large. Look at that beautiful tree. See? Absolutely stunning. And all trees for free. I wonder how many of these just get dumped, you know, when people see that they don't survive, they throw it thinking they're dead. But to us bonsai people, they're not dead. They're absolute gold mine. And look at the base of this one. Look at the base of this one. Ready-made bonsai, if ever there was ready-made bonsai. This is it. If I want to reduce the vigor, I just reduce some of the long shoots. Now this is making a nice leader going up that way. So, but I think that with the root like that, I think the front should be somewhere here. And that could be a new leader there. That's going to be a perfect leader. So let's get rid of this one and get rid of this one and let that grow on as the new leader. That becomes the new leader. But then if I wanted to, if you look carefully, there's another shoot here, this side. So this could also be a leader. So let me turn it around to see which side is better. See, wherever there's scuffing of the trunk, you see how it calluses. Look at this. Look at the beautiful callus taking place here. So although it was slightly damaged, that callus is going to give a lot of character to this tree. And because there are lots of branches, I can choose which I use. So I still have a choice of one or the other as a new leader. So if I got that, you see over here, let me just take away some branches and show you. If you come close, there is a fork here, there and there, there and there. So I don't want both in case I get inverse taper. So I take out the downward one and let the new leader grow up that way. And when that pulls it up, I'm going to get a better taper. But I still have a choice of this or that as the leader. But I'll leave that for now and see what happens next year. So all these are potentially good trees. Look at the callusing that's happening here. Look at the callus here. Now this part is dead wood. That I could use my carving machine, get rid of it, and then when we carve this, the root won't look so ugly. It'll be a nice thin root. So that has happened almost naturally. So that will make a beautiful tree. Let's see what else there is. This one here, I can see they've all produced beautiful leaders there. Again, the Nibari on this one is beautiful. Look at the base on this tree. Look at the base on this. And of course I have a new leader growing there. And exactly where I wanted, the leader is coming straight up. But I will point out again that there is too much growing at the top. And it could either end up as a broom tree, but if you leave all those growing, you are going to get inverse taper. I'm sorry to keep mentioning inverse taper, but inverse taper can cause you a lot of grief at a later stage. So it's always better to get rid of it while the tree is young. So because I've got a new leader there, I don't have to worry too much. In fact, that one at the back, I'm not too worried. Now that one over there can cause inverse taper, so I'm going to get rid of that. So getting rid of the thick branches will control the inverse taper to quite an extent. Now I will leave both of these to grow because the more growth I have on this, it will help to thicken this leader more quickly. So that is a case of just leaving alone and hoping that it will do the rest. Now how about this one? Now every tree is slightly different. So this tree hasn't produced so much growth for some reason or other. It may have died, but it's a case of it sort of rescuing itself. So it has rescued itself. Not too many branches, just one branch here. All the other branches have died and it's got a new leader, but I won't despair because they bud back from old wood very easily. So this is the new leader, it's forming very nicely. I won't let too many of these go. I want it to grow upright, maybe grow that upright, and I hope that I will get more branching from here at a later stage. But also another little trick which I do, you may want to see what I do. Those of you who grow apple trees will know that if you use a saw or a blade to do this, chop, 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 chop like that, you see, if you distress the trunk, you will induce buds to form. New buds and shoots will come from those places where you've done that. So that's another little trick I pass on to you. Not everyone will give you those tips, but I'm giving it to you now. Now let's look at this one. I will go through most of these 22 trees. Again, this is forming a nice taper. No worries at all. And lots of branches. I'm going to take the thick branches off. Again, this inverse taper. I'm very conscious of inverse taper on deciduous trees. So I don't want too many growing. I don't want too many growing too close to each other. So create space. And because deciduous trees are so prolific in sending new branches, I will get loads of branches on this tree pretty quickly. And if I can remind you, I just use ordinary potting compost to pot these beech trees up, and that is what helped them to survive. As I say, if I lost about 6 trees, because I gave away quite a few, 6 out of 36 is not bad. So the success rate is pretty good. And another classic one, this probably was struggling to survive, and it didn't produce shoots for the whole year. And this collection of new shoots that you see here have all been produced in this last year. So in 2019 I collected, 2019 to 20 nothing happened, but the tree didn't die. But these shoots have grown only in 2021. So you can see a new leader growing and nice side branches growing all over the tree. So that's going to be a nice one. These are the failures. As I say, I never hide what don't succeed, because whenever you grow things, there's no shame in admitting failure. So these trees didn't take, and like in life, not everything is successful. You get some successful and some not so successful. But fortunately, in my case, the number of successes outnumber the failures. So from 36, I've only had 4 failures. So that's not a bad success rate. That's another failure. Maybe the roots were too far grown, or the tree could have been too dry when I potted them up. So no point crying over spilt milk. I'll use the compost again. So these are the ones that didn't make it. Now this one, yeah, this one is interesting because you see the distressing here. Look at it, this natural distressing of the trunk. It must have been chopped too hard when it was being transplanted, and that's going to be a feature. So although some people may think it's ugly, look at it, it's beautiful. To me it's beautiful. And all these new branches. If I didn't want the tree to grow too tall, I can cut it here and make it a short tree and make a new leader there. Why don't I do that? I don't want everything to grow big. But then if you wanted to, beech air layers very easily. I may do this as an experiment. Air layer just this top part. I could keep the tree short like this, but if I air lay this, I'll get another short tree with a thick trunk. I will do that because I don't often air lay beech, but I do know that beech air lay very easily. So I'm going to do as an experiment an air layer of this part over there. So, and I think I've got just 1 or 2 more. And look at this deep green color, lovely deep green color. And I must admit, I haven't put any fertilizer on these at all. There's been no fertilizer. Did I trim this one?
No, not yet.
No, I didn't trim this one. So this is growing quite well. Again, you see how the new leaders are coming. There. And this side. I may just keep the 2 because I always have a choice of 2 leaders. You see over here, in fact, there are 3 leaders. So how nice is that? I have a choice of 1, 2, 3 leaders. So let that grow. And I think I have just a couple more. And how long is this taking? Not very long. 20 minutes and I've pruned about 22 trees. Let's see this one.
Wow.
Again, look at the branching on this tree. Look at the branching. And lovely new leaders. And there's a new leader there. Look at it, ready-made leader. I'll just let it grow so that it pulls the sap up and I'll get a thick branch. Now I've got a thin branch and a thick branch there. And what am I going to do? I'm going to remove the thick branch. Because if I leave the thick branch, I get inverse taper. Same with this. If I leave this, unless I wanted to make this a new leader, this could well be a new leader because it's growing upright. But I will take the thick one off because I've got a leader there. So let's get rid of that one. And if I wanted to, if we just put these into plastic bonsai training pots, they are ready-made bonsai. But I hope that some people will see them. We may put it on our internet site, and these will get sold in pretty quick time.
Huge bases.
So there you are. Oh, we got one more. Oh yeah, these are the other two failures. These other two didn't make it. Not to worry, we have enough. And this is the last one that I'm going to prune. Again, I always look at the base for the nibari. If it has a nice nibari or nice base, then that determines more or less what I decide to use as the front. Let's turn it around the other way. This side is also nice. In fact, this side is nicer. It's got a bit of distressing. Sorry. Pull it back a bit. You look at the distressing there. It's beautiful. So I have to decide whether I want the tree that tall. I think it's got a nice taper, so why waste it? I will continue to grow that taper. But I will probably take this thick branch off. I don't want too many thick branches. Again, the problem with inverse taper. It's only the leader that I will let grow. This could make another nice new leader. You don't need so many leaders. Too many leaders and no followers, no good. Too many branches there. And I would just mention that this is growing in partial shade, in the shade of these trees. So they've not been exposed to too much full sun. And that is probably another reason why they have grown so well. So there you are. I've pruned all the trees. And this is the result of a year's work. And I hope you've enjoyed this little exercise. I won't show me putting it in a bonsai pot. It's not the right time of the year, but in the spring I will put them in bonsai pots and they will all become very variable, desirable and saleable bonsai. So thank you very much.